Good evening, and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Fort Wayne Community Schools Board of School Trustees. We begin this meeting like we do each meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now we have roll call of members.
Good evening, Steve Corona from the 5th District.
Jennifer Mathias, District 2.
Ann Duff, Member at Large.
Raleigh Booker, District 4.
Noah Smith, District 3, which covers the state champion Snyder Panthers.
If anybody's playing a game at home, anytime Noah says Snyder, you should count how many times he says it tonight.
Hope it's with Kool-Aid, not some.
Well, yes, exactly. Ice water. And then to my left, we have Dr. Mark Daniels, Superintendent of Fort Wayne Community Schools, and Angie Filler, Clerk of the Board, and I'm Maria Norman, Member at Large. This evening, we start with, we don't have any awards or recognitions, correct, okay. So then we start with consent agenda. So we have approval of minutes from the regular meeting on November 13th, vouchers and payroll, personnel report, and required disclosures. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Thanks, Ann. Thanks, Jennifer. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Dr. Daniel, was there anything that you wanted to share? No? Okay.
I hope you noted in the minutes, Madam President, that I acknowledge you and the efforts you do along with Ann and Julie, because it was not as easy as it seemed, so thank you for your service.
We just make it look easy.
Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you for filling in while everybody was sick. Julie's still out because she's still sick. So we have no old business, so we move on to new business. Steve, are you up and running?
I am.
Can you take A, please?
It is recommended the board reappoint Ben Eisbard to the board of the Allen County Public Library. We make 2 appointments to the library's Board of Trustees. This is going to be Ben's 3rd term. His new term will begin January 1 of the new year and continue through December 31st of 2027. Ben Eisbart and Martin Seifert are the current appointees. Executive Director Susan Baer will introduce the library's new Youth Services Manager, Jackie Fullwood, and they're going to show us a video and talk about their successes, programs and services for the past year, and share their recently approved 2024-28 strategic plan.
Thanks, Steve. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, Raleigh. Thanks, Noah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, and now we'll have the Executive Director, Susan Baer, and Youth Services Manager, Jackie Fullwood, come forward. Hello, Susan. Hello, Jackie. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having us. Good evening, everyone. And thank you so much for the reappointment of our Library Board of Trustees Chair, Ben Eisbart. We are incredibly fortunate to have both him and Marty on our library board. We are grateful for their leadership and dedication. Thank you. I'd like to introduce Jackie Fullwood. Jackie joined the ACPL team earlier this month as our new Youth Services Manager. She came to us from the Dayton Metro Library, where she held leadership positions within the Youth Services Department there. We're thrilled to have her with us, and she's looking forward to working with all of you. So if you read the paper over the weekend, there was a letter to the editor in the Journal-Gazette that stated that ACPL was an amazing library and an invaluable asset to the community. I don't have the pleasure of knowing the author, and I admit I am a little bit biased, but I agree 1,000%. And I know thousands of others do as well. We have just over 200,000 registered users, and 52% of Allen County residents are cardholders. Last year, we had nearly 1.5 million visitors across the system, and we loaned 4.1 million items. We've also put intentional effort into addressing the digital divide through access to high-quality, high-speed Wi-Fi throughout our branches. Our 2023 summer learning program saw 14,763 readers logging 7.9 million minutes of reading. So that's the equivalent of 15 years of literacy, lifelong learning, and discovery. This year, we launched 2 initiatives that have direct impact on the FWCS community. First, we are now fine-free for all patrons, which removes a barrier for many. We also began to offer out-of-county teacher library cards free of charge. These cards can be issued when a teacher lives outside of Allen County, but teaches at a K-12 school within Allen County. These cards are absolutely free, and we encourage all of your teachers who live outside of Allen County to please come to us, show proof of employment with the school district, and we will get them a free library card. We are grateful for the continued collaboration and partnership between ACPL and Fort Wayne Community Schools. A few months ago, we were honored to host a group of your leadership for a tour of the Rowland Center for Lincoln Research and our Genealogy Center at the main library, and to brainstorm about future collaborations. We believe the Rowland Center and the Genealogy Center are truly the community's history classrooms, and we love to work with teachers and students to introduce them to these tremendous resources. We also had the pleasure of working with AmpLab students earlier this year to get their ideas on how to better engage teens at the library. We have library staff representation at your Families in Transition meetings to learn how we can better support students experiencing homelessness. ACPL has also increased our involvement in Title I events for families across your elementary schools, providing activities, information, library card sign-ups, and even 3D printing demos. Our Pontiac branch actually recently hosted a Title I night at the library to great success. I've shared some examples of our partnerships between our 2 organizations, but if you think about it, I think we partner every day when your students visit our libraries after school, and other days too, but particularly after school, and we have the privilege to work with them. For many of your students, our libraries provide a safe and supportive place in those critical after-school hours. One prime example is our Georgetown branch, where many Black Hawk Middle School students visit every Monday through Friday afternoon. And we saw this incredible opportunity to engage these students in a creative project that allowed them to work with a local artist to design an art installation for the teen area of our Georgetown branch. And we made a short video about that collaboration that I would like to show now.
My name is Lindy Bazil, and this is Studio Voisin. I started the studio in February of this year, 2023. It's a multi-artist studio space in Southeast Fort Wayne and a community space where we serve the neighborhood in Renaissance Point, which is where we are, and also just the community at large in Fort Wayne. I got involved with this project when Aisha reached out to me from the downtown library. We had our first session at the Georgetown Library a couple months ago, where the teens came and we kind of collaborated together on some ideas and designs. And then today we met in the studio here to take the next step as far as painting the compositions that we had come up with together previously. The first step was we just had a conversation where we all brainstormed. I asked questions about the teen space at Georgetown. What does the space mean to the teens that are there? What does it provide them they wouldn't have otherwise? What does it feel like? What are some memories that they have from being there? And what do they hope the space can offer to other teens coming in the future? And then the teens took those words and made sketches of images that kind of reflected what the words we had come up with. And so then I took those sketches and I arranged them in a composition together. So like if there was ideas about community and there was ideas about security, I found ways to mix those 2 ideas together in a composition. None of those compositions would have come up without the pieces that the kids had offered up initially. I do think the kids are getting a lot out of this project. A lot of the kids come in confident with a lot of energy, and maybe they don't have experience, but they aren't afraid to try new things. Some of them are. They probably do consider themselves artists, and they have painted and they draw and they do a lot of digital art. And then some kids really are nervous to even put anything on paper or say anything out loud. And so there's all different levels So being able to create and make art give you an opportunity to kind of like create your worldview. So you can know what you see, know what you experience, and then filter it through yourself, put it on paper, see it, and it just becomes more real for you that way. I feel like it's a good way for me and for the kids to process emotion, the world that we exist in, our experiences. And it's really cool when they get to do it together because you see them kind of like processing together and, you know, growing and like getting technical skills together. And it's fun when they ask each other like, hey, how do you draw this? And like one of the kids might know and they can show the other kids. And it just kind of creates that situation where they're helping each other, leading each other, and like trusting each other to make something together. So I feel like that's just the whole thing about living in a community. Practicing making art together, like practicing existing and living together and having healthy relationships. The public will see the final project when it's installed at the Georgetown Library. So it'll be in the teens room and there'll be 4 large panels. I'm kind of picturing them like tapestries, but I really want the public to see a true representation of the identity of the kids at Georgetown. So, you know, they're a large group. They're all different, but they do have intersectional identity. They share the identity of being a certain age, of going to a certain school, of sharing that space at Georgetown and being alive at this time, being the age they are at this time in the world. So they have a lot in common, and I want them to be able to show their identity and also recognize it for themselves together so they can feel that support from each other and know that they have that connection with each other.
Production facilities provided by Access Fort Wayne. Learn more under the Explore tab at acpl.info.
And you can come to the Georgetown Library in person and see it in all of its glory. It is quite beautiful. All of you have at your places a copy of our newly approved strategic plan that outlines the goals we have set in 5 focus areas. Those are celebrating reading and learning, creating a culture of belonging, connecting community, leading through innovation, and finally, designing friendly, functional spaces. I also gave you a copy of our winter programming guide. There is truly something for everyone, and we hope to see you at ACPL this winter. Thank you and happy holidays, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Susan. Any questions?
Well, I just want to say that I absolutely love our library system.
Thank you.
My mom when I was a kid, we would spend many Saturdays there reading and just taking part in the programming. And so I take my kids there a lot too. They love going to the downtown library. That's probably their favorite place. Lindy is actually one of my neighbors. And so
Cool.
She's amazing.
Yes, she is.
Her studio is right next to the Pontiac Branch
Correct.
Library, and I understand that you have that organized teen programming at Georgetown. But my question for you would be when or if you will bring that partnership between Lindy, who's right there by the Pontiac Branch, to the Pontiac Library for the kids who are in that neighborhood.
We are expanding our partnership with Lindy, absolutely, yes.
Okay. Great.
I got to visit that day. They didn't get me in the video, thankfully, but I was there that day, and it was amazing to watch her interact with the teens. So we are continuing that relationship and want to have her at other locations, absolutely.
Very good.
I want to thank the Georgetown Library for opening their doors for the children that are coming from Blackhawk's really close.
Yes.
And there's a lot of kids in the after school that don't have a lot of things going on to do, and they linger around. I know because my kids went to school there. So. But they do. They linger around that Georgetown area. And for a while there, we had some businesses that weren't thrilled with the kids lingering and doing. But the library has always opened their doors, put some boundaries for those kids. but offered them something. And I think I see a lot of kids there still, and that's a wonderful place for them to be and surrounded by. So I just wanted to thank you for not turning those kids away and actually creating something new for them. So thank you.
I can't tell you how meaningful that is to hear. Thank you so much, and we'll be sure to share that with our staff at Georgetown. They're truly an incredible team, very dedicated to all the patrons, particularly the teens.
So people still read books?
They do, and they bring them back on time, and they come back for more.
So what is that borrowing number? Is it up, down, steady?
We are gradually approaching pre-pandemic levels. It is very steady. We are seeing a bit of a shift. Print is not going out of style. Never fear, print is not going out of style in any of our lifetimes. However, we are seeing more and more e-checkouts, so people checking out e-books and e-audiobooks from the convenience of their phone or their laptop 24/7. So it's a balance.
So what's the, one of the more recent services or activities that you put in place that have proved to be extremely popular?
I would say the Roland Center is one. It's only been open for less than 2 years, and we have been very intentional and strategic about promoting that as an asset to our K through 12 educators. And we are seeing many field trips, we are seeing many Zoom class visits, we are seeing a lot of educators reaching out and getting lesson plans from our Lincoln librarians free of charge. Also, our maker programs continue to be very popular. We were able to get ARPA funding from the city to expand our maker services. We have a maker lab at our main library and at our Georgetown branch. With that additional funding from the ARPA grant, we are going to be having many maker labs at our Pontiac branch, our Shawnee branch, and our Hessen Castle branch. We also were able to hire a full-time employee who just does maker and does those programs throughout the system and coordinates it. So that has been very, very popular for all ages, but particularly for middle school and high school students.
Thank you.
So I have a question on, I've been wanting to ask, and I'm glad you're here today. So since you've taken away the fees for book fees, I'm sure that's impacted you tremendously, but I'm wondering, is there more checkout, less checkout, longer overdue books? I've been thinking about that because I know that I have one of those books right this second. Thankfully, I'm like, oh, I should have returned that last week. But yeah, so I was just wondering how that impacts the library and how we can better support you, or the citizens of Fort Wayne can better support the library by returning their books.
So the financial impact is minimal, if anything. It was such a minute part of our budget. And if you also think about the time spent in collecting fines, I would say we're money ahead. We have seen an increase in children's checkouts, particularly. We have heard amazing stories from families who have said, this has allowed me to come to the library again. We have had families say, and this is not hyperbole or an exaggeration, I had to choose between groceries and library fines for a while. So we didn't go to the library, but now we can come back. So people are coming back excited, without shame. We're getting materials turned back in time. It's working out really well. There's still responsibility in that if someone keeps it for way too long, there's a bill. So we do have a way of cost recovery if something never comes back. But overall, our patrons have been appreciative, responsible, and 10 out of 10 highly recommend. We're so glad we did it.
Great, thank you.
So about that book, do you want our home address?
It's on my shelf to come back tomorrow. I'll be
You're
here
good
tomorrow.
for it. You're good for it.
I want to echo Jennifer's thank you for Georgetown in particular, because I too live over there. My daughters went to school with Jennifer's daughters too, and we try to treat it as a privilege to be able to go there on Thursdays or Fridays to go, because it was a lot of kids seem to go there, and I'm sure it can be a bit of a stress when 20 or 30 kids show up, the library staff all at one time. So thank you for opening the doors. My question is the free library card out of county teachers?
Yes.
Is that a new development?
Yes, that started this year.
Okay, is that something we've communicated to our teachers? Does our team know? I think that's a phenomenal opportunity and a great thank you to you, your group, for doing that partnership with us, because I think that's a wonderful resource for our staff.
Absolutely. Well, if we want students to have library cards, what better way to do it than to have their teachers have cards and to be able to talk about that in the classroom?
Sure. I just want to make sure we get that out to all our folks.
And I just want to echo sort of Noah and Jennifer. I live on the south end of town, and so on several occasions I'll walk into Shawnee and there are tons of kiddos there in Waynedale, Hessen Castle. So just the Allen County Public Library is such an essential part of our community, and I just want to say thank you for providing a safe haven for our kiddos after school. Like Noah said, it can be stressful, but your librarians just make it look seamless. Like they're so excited when they walk in the door, they know them by their names. So it just seems like they're just a part of the community overall. So thank you.
Thank you. It really means a lot to that staff to provide that affirming, supportive, welcoming place.
Yeah.
I think Maria just said it best. We just came from a work session on belonging and kids belonging. And that's exactly what I hear when I'm at the library. The librarians know the kids' names. And they interact with them and they feel like that's just an extension of their day and a place to go. So again, that's just a wonderful opportunity for our kids and all this, I believe, I know my librarian, well, one of them pretty well because I'm always looking for something that's not existing, that isn't easily found, let's just say, and they know me pretty well. So I thank them all for the the job that they do each day.
Good. Thank you again so much.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate your support.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Thank you, you too. Okay, we are on to item B. Jen, are you up? Yep. Okay, thanks.
It is recommended that the board approve the acceptance of the Title III grant for the 2023-24 from the Department of Education in the amount of $448,590. Funds from this grant will allow for the continuation of a range of supplemental services for the district's English language learners, ELL program. The grant supports supplemental instruction materials, professional learning, and family engagement. This non-competitive grant is written by Emily Schwartz-Kearns, Director of ELL, and she is available to answer questions.
Thanks, Jennifer. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Thanks.
Second.
Thanks, Ann. Thanks, Raleigh. Any questions for Emily?
Emily, it says it's a Title III grant from the Indiana Department of Education, but correct me if I'm wrong, is that federal dollars that flow through the Indiana Department of Education?
Correct. That is federal funding allocated by the Indiana Department of Education.
Okay. And how do we arrive at the dollar amount?
Each fall, we have an official count day for our English language learners. So it's an as of October 1st count. That count is what determines the allocations for the following school year. So this year's allocations are based on last fall's count. There's a certain pot of money each year, and they divide it by all the ELL students in the state. So the per pupil amount varies a bit year to year depending on the total population in the state.
How much is this per pupil roughly?
This one is $114 per pupil.
Thank you.
How does that compare to what we received last year?
It went up $3. It was $111 last year. So it just kind of hovers in there based on the state population.
And Rosie, I told you I was going to pick on you tonight. This is an area where we're still underfunded by the state. Is that not correct?
Yes, it is.
ELL?
Yes.
Thank you.
And this Title III is just supplemental. We can't pay for our required English language development instruction, our interpreters, all the things we're required to do. So that's why this provides some supplemental things. So it's welcome, but it doesn't fund everything at all.
How much are we required to do dollar-wise versus what we receive? Any sense of that?
Well, it's hard to say. We spend a great deal more than we receive specifically in English language learner funding. We used to have the NESP or non-English speaking program, which was state funding, which was a higher amount per pupil. That's now rolling into our education fund, but still an extra amount based on our English learners. We did some figuring where the state recommends a 30-to-1 ratio for ELL students to ELL teachers. We're just above 40 right now, so we're really pretty good in the state. If we were going to go to 30 to 1, I mean, we'd have to hire a whole bunch more teachers. I mean, we could figure out how much it would really cost to fund the program at that level. But, so we spend more than the students generate, and if we were going to fully fund it at that level, it would cost even more than that.
I guess if you're bored sometime, be curious to know what we're required to do versus what we do, and then how are we truly funded?
Right, so we are required to provide English language development instruction, and we certainly do that. We're required to provide interpreting and translation for our families who need it, and we do that as well. So that's another big part of it.
Thank you, Emily.
Any other questions for Emily? Thanks, Emily.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Anne, can you do item C?
Sure. It is recommended that the board approve the following equipment and construction contracts for the A-phone replacement project. For the equipment from Gray Bar, base bid is $345,556.40. And for the wiring installation from Premier Communications, that is $93,130. This project consists of the replacement of A-phone entry door intercom systems at 63 buildings. The project will be funded from the 2023 General Obligation Bond Funds. Project specifications require the work to be complete by May 24, 2024. And Darren Hess, Director of Facilities, will be available to answer any questions.
Thanks, Anne. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Noah. Any questions for Darren?
This will hit all our buildings?
Yes, this covers all the buildings, correct.
Nice.
Sorry. Do you expect any kind of delays for the quantity that we're ordering or any of
No,
that?
with speaking with the manufacturer, we should have plenty of time to have these received.
Okay.
Why are these better than what we have now?
These have a video integration to them, so it's another opportunity for the person letting them in to see them on a camera beyond the camera above them. And they're also much more reliable. A lot of the squawk boxes, the existing ones that we have out there, they could be 25, 30 years old. So we've been having a lot of maintenance issues with these. So it'll be much more reliable where they're there and actually working during the day, except for a work ticket to get them repaired.
So this is the main entrance.
Yes, this is the main entrance, and then there's another one on the inside. Once you're in the vestibule, you'll have to also buzz to get in again, so it's the second. So this will be a supplemental from the outside, also in the interior vestibule for the office.
So we'll have to be buzzing twice?
Correct.
Any other questions for Darren? Thanks, Darren. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next up, we have asbestos abatement for Blackhawk Middle School. It is recommended that the board approve the following construction contract for the asbestos abatement for Blackhawk Middle School project. That contract going to Total Environmental Services LLC for a total contract of $209,000. This project consists of asbestos abatement at Blackhawk Middle School. The project will be funded through the 2020 School Building Basic Renewal and Restoration and Safety Project Bond. You see there that we received 2 bids with Total Environmental Services being the lowest bid. And Darren is still here to answer any questions. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Ann. Any questions for Darren?
Where is the asbestos?
It's mainly this floor tile. We have a lot of 9x9. We have it behind chalkboards and tack boards as the adhesive to the walls. We have it on the insulation, the TSI for drain pipes and some heating lines. But it's all in good shape. It just, as part of the process, we go ahead and remove it during the renovation.
When will it be removed then?
It'll be removed as we move through the building in phases. So we'll work with the general contractor and the construction manager to, when we have like the first phase coming up here starting this Christmas break, we give them like 2 weeks pull ahead to do the abatement, get it cleared, and then we come in and do the rest of the work. So we'll do it by phase. It'll be completed by fall of 2025.
So it'll be all throughout the process?
Yes.
Will it, I presumably be done without students and teachers and all that stuff?
Correct. All the abatement process is done without after hours.
How long does it take to do something like, I mean, like if you do one room, let's say?
Yeah,
is that a whole night
typically,
thing?
if we do, let's say, 3 rooms at a time, it'll take a week to completely demolish them, do the air testing clearances before we turn it over to the contractor.
And I'm sure this is not our first asbestos remediation.
Correct. This is one of our last ones.
How does this compare to other ones as far as concern levels or size and scope?
Size and scope is very similar to what we've had. It's typical 1960s building, 50s, 60s building.
Have we used this firm before?
Yes.
Thank you, Darren.
Any other questions? Thanks, Darren. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Raleigh, are you up?
It is recommended that the board approve the construction contract for the Chambers Field improvements at Northside High School. The work will include the replacement of the latex running track, installation of synthetic turf, subsurface stormwater drainage, and the relocation of track and field events. The Motts Group received the contract for a total of $1.9 million. The project was designed and procured through the Wilson Education Foundation as Indiana-approved educational purchasing cooperative program. Engineering Resources, Inc. assisted with the project's civil design and approval with the local authorities. This recommendation is within the budget, the program budget. The project is funded from the Operations Fund and is identified in the Capital Projects Plan. Project specifications require the work to be done by August 2nd, 2024, and Darren can answer any questions.
Thanks, Raleigh. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, Ann. Thanks, Jennifer. Any questions for Darren?
Where are you going to relocate the track and field events to?
The current running or the long jump will move to the north outside of the oval. Right now it's currently inside the oval. The existing pole vault will move also to the outside of the oval. The long jump will be expanded so that we can actually run it from both ways. It's still in the same location, just expanded. And then the shot put will be located outside near the practice football field because you don't want to throw that on top of the turf.
Yeah.
Good call.
This price seems higher than our past turfs, is that right? Is there more to it?
Yeah, each year it gets higher. Cost of construction is just unfortunately getting higher.
And this will have all of our high schools except for the state championship Snyder football stadium will not have turf field, is that right?
That is correct.
That's number 2 for those keeping track.
Oh, I got you.
Talk more about that in my comments.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
Was this the only bid we received? Did we get 3 bids?
No, so we work with Moats as through the cooperative agreement, and they have national pricing that they have to honor. And then as we go through that, a lot of the work, is subcontracted out. So yes, we got pricing from Wayne Asphalt, Brooks Construction, a lot of excavating companies, and that we
And
bid
that's
out.
the advantage of working with Wilson, is that they provide all of these other resources or
Correct.
pricing on this?
It's a specialty contract, of course, so we can, the biggest timing is doing this during the summer. So I had that project management, that horsepower behind a contractor that's a national firm to be able to make sure everything goes well. But then within that, we have them competitively bid the subcontracts within
Okay.
it.
Did we use them before with the other fields?
Yes, they started with the first one at Spoler.
Okay.
Is there any plans, I know typically it's separate, but to renovate the bleachers or the stadium seating at all?
So at Northside, the existing stadium this past summer was shot blasted and recoded.
Okay.
We are looking at future, 10-year plan for athletics is to do something with the press box and with the audio system. This is just one step for improvements at the field.
Cool. Thank you.
Will there be a big legend emblem in the middle?
It will have actually the north side in. It's easier to do that than the intricate legend.
Thanks, Darren. Any other questions? No? Okay, thanks. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Noah, can you do item F?
Sure. It's recommended the board approve a contract amendment with Blue Energy Equipment to replace the fuel distribution system at North Transportation Center in the amount of $898,998. This amendment will replace the existing underground fuel storage tanks, fueling islands, and associated monitoring equipment to fully replace the fuel distribution system at North Transportation Center. This amendment establishes the final price of the project. A prior board recommendation on 10/9/23 approved the pre-purchase of one $25,000 underground fuel storage tank for diesel fuel, one 6,000-gallon underground fuel storage tank for unleaded fuel gasoline. Project specifications require the work to be completed by August 2nd, 2024. FWCS was able to secure pricing available through Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Organization. Indiana law does not require public bidding for purchases made at or below approved cooperative purchasing entities. The project is funded by the 2023 General Obligation Bond Funds, and Darren again is here to answer questions.
Thanks, Noah. Is there a motion on the floor?
Second.
Thanks, Ann. Thanks, Noah. Any questions for Darren?
This then cover all of the tanks? Because I know that we had questions on the last one.
Yes, it does.
Okay, so we're taking up the ones that are existing and replacing?
Correct.
And how many total then is that? I know we talked,
Yeah, there's 3 currently in the basin, and then we're going to go put 2 back in. And part of this is the worst case scenario, the approval of this contract. We're working with IDEM on a rebate program that we've already applied to and been approved, that they'll reimburse us a portion of the removal and any remediation. We could go through their LUST program, their leaking underground storage tank. So we've got some other avenues, hopefully, to recoup some funds through the state.
That's great.
This will be able to service all of our transportation vehicles,
Yes.
including some of Mike Manuel's new fancy ones, or?
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay. Thanks, Darren. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Real estate transactions. It is recommended that the board approve real estate transactions for the following: Fairfield Elementary School, acceptance of the donation of property from the Lutheran Foundation, and Tolles Intermediate School donation of right-of-way to the city of Fort Wayne. The Lutheran Foundation has offered to donate 2.615 acres of property that is adjacent to the south of the current Fairfield School campus. This will allow flexibility for the school to create a parent pickup lane and additional parking. The donation of land by FWCS, Tolles Intermediate School, of the eastern 16.94 foot strip of land along Hannah Street from Paulding Road south to Burns Boulevard, containing .593 acres, to the city of Fort Wayne as permanent right-of-way to construct a portion of the Hannah Street Trail. And Darren is still available to answer any questions. Is there a motion on the floor?
so motion.
Thanks, Ann. Thanks, Jennifer. Any questions for Darren?
What is currently on that property by Fairfield? Is it just a parking lot, or what is it?
Yeah, it's currently just an asphalt parking lot that we've actually had an agreement with them for several years to park. So we probably have at least 30 staff members that park there on a daily basis. So without it, we would really hurt. It's a small campus.
Okay, and
You and I parked there once.
I know we did. And so you guys are going to expand the parent pickup line then?
It just gives us that flexibility in the future
So maybe.
because if you're familiar with that, during drop off or dismissal, it backs up. But that gives us a lot more flexibility in the future for site.
So now that we own this lot, are you thinking about doing anything with that backside on Hoagland with those spaces? Changing the use of it in any way or putting?
The existing parking lot down low?
Yeah.
Probably not. We'll probably still need that. The size of the building, it has a higher capacity, so we have to make sure we still allow plenty of asphalt play and turf play there as well to accommodate that capacity.
You're not thinking of making it more green space then?
Possibly yes and no,
Okay.
depending. Like I said, with this, it gives us a flexibility to do the parent pickup lane up there instead of down low.
Okay. Is there a fence with respect to tolls on that strip? Is there a sidewalk there, or is it just open field?
There's a current sidewalk there in a grass area before the track.
Yeah.
It expands the actual right-of-way the city can build upon.
Yeah.
So they can make a 5-foot sidewalk to a 10-foot walkway,
Okay.
pathway.
There's a drawing in our packet. Is this the furthest east with the lines, like basically parallel? It's like by the track and field to the road?
Correct. It goes all the way from Paulding down to
Paulding
Burns, I
to
believe.
Burns Boulevard?
Yes.
Has the city told you what their plans on how soon that might happen, or?
They're still going through the right-of-way acquisition. They have engineering completed. So I would assume that if they don't have any issues with the right-of-way acquisition, it should start next year.
We add this to our memory bank of the city of what we donate to them.
Sure. Talking about the fire department.
Might have mentioned that. Across the street from the state champion Snyder High School.
3. Okay. Any other questions for Darren?
Thank you, Darren.
Thanks, Darren. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next up, we have group health plan renewal. It is recommended that the board renew the administration contract with Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield effective January 1, 2024 through December 31, 2024. Anthem acts as a third-party administrator for the FWCS group health plan, providing employees with access to broad-based PPO providers and network discounts. In addition, they manage claims processing services and all aspects of the provider network, perform utilization and medical management functions, provide enrollment support and customer service for our employees. Administrative fees for medical, dental, and vision are increasing 11.3%, or about $206,000. The increase is due to 2.9% increase in Anthem's fee and a new consumer cost-saving tool for the employees called Healthcare Blue Book, which guarantees estimates of a 3.95% return on investment and will guide covered employees towards the best quality service at the best price. Our medical prescription plan will also remain with the current pharmacy benefit manager, CVS, Caremark through RX Benefits. FWCS continues to receive pharmacy cost savings through prescription rebates to the prescription plan in the sum of $4.1 million. Reinsurance or stop loss premiums are increasing 9.8%, or about $480,000. Administrative fees and reinsurance premiums are about $6.8 million, or approximately 11% of the total expected cost of the health plan, which is $61,514,385. And Rose Costello, Executive Director for Human Resources, is available to answer any questions. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Thanks, Ann.
Second.
Thanks, Jennifer. Any questions for Rose?
I have some. Just to make sure I'm following it, we have 11.3% increase in medical, dental, and vision.
Our contract with Anthem is seeing an increase, that's correct.
But, I'm trying to get what our total increase is. It looks like there's different pockets of increases.
The total increase amount is $206,000.
Total or just for medical, dental, and vision?
That is for medical, dental, and vision. Overall, the total increase is 206
For that piece.
for that piece
Right.
alone. Yes.
So for the health insurance, we went up 9.8%?
For the health insurance, our contract with Anthem, that increase is 2.9%. Overall, our fund is increasing by 11.3%. There are two reasons. One is because Anthem has increased their cost by 2.9%. The other reason is that we are purchasing and utilizing a consumer plan, the Healthcare Blue Book.
Which guarantees a 3.95% ROI?
Yes, and that guarantee is based on a review of our existing claims. And so it's a pretty specific to us estimate.
What's the dollar amount for that then?
I don't have that total cost of Blue Book.
And
I'm
what, I
thinking-
guess, what's the 395 based
Right.
on, the gross number or an individualized number, or?
I think that percent is, that's tied to our overall Anthem expense.
So 3.95 of 61 million?
I'm not sure what that number is. That's probably a Rosie question. Rosie, sorry not to throw you under the bus. But I'm not sure what that is, what that
Have
total.
we looked at shopping this out recently?
Yes, we do. We want to do a benefits survey where we're asking employees what it is that they're interested in to ensure that we're providing benefits that are suitable to the age and demographics of our current employees. And then we want to do an RFP. That's something that's down the road, probably a year or two.
So we've not priced this out in the marketplace?
Not in the last couple of years, no.
And how many employees are involved in, or taking advantage of health insurance coverage along with medical, dental, and vision?
We have 2,616 benefited employees.
Out of 4,000 plus or minus?
Correct, yeah.
But we've not shopped this in a couple of years?
That is correct, and I don't want to misstate, but I believe they have held their cost for the last couple of years.
Until this year?
Yeah. Yes.
How's their customer service?
Overall, I think it's pretty good. I've used Anthem here and with other employers, and overall, I think they're pretty good. Their network is very wide. Their response time is
Whining
good.
about too much red tape or delays in fixing issues?
No, I have not.
Is that
sorry,
part of your
you said
survey?
you're-
I'm sorry. Is that part of the survey that you're putting out about when we're going to be asking our employees the benefits that they're lacking or that they like? Are we going to be asking them that before we shop that out?
I think that would be a good question also to ask about their satisfaction, the satisfaction with our current vendor, in addition to what benefits would you like to see? Yes.
You said there's 2,515 employees taking advantage of health insurance?
2,616.
2,616?
Correct.
And then what are the deductibles on this?
It varies based on plan type. We have 3. And it also depends on the coverage, whether you are a single covered family or if you are employee and spouse. So it varies. I can give you
Sure, give me the range, that'd be great.
So for the buy-up plan, the total cost for a single, the total plan cost is $14,400. Now we pay, the employer portion, we pay $10,296. The employee pays $4,104.
Take me to the most expensive piece, family.
So the most expensive piece would probably be the buy-up family, That total planned cost is $38,106. We pay $27,288, and the employee pays $10,818.
And then what's the deductibles?
I don't have the deductible in front of me.
Does anybody know? You guys participate in the plan?
Item the volume's 3,000, or excuse me, the item deductible 3,000 person or 6,000 family.
And Rose buyout is phasing out?
That is correct. This plan is underfunded, and as a result, will be going away in 2025. This plan is also seeing an increase of 14% to try to cover some of the expenses of the claims.
Well, I mean, just the 61,514 divided by 2,616 participants, that's 23,500 right there per employee, but obviously depends on the type
Yeah.
of employee and what they take. And I know health insurance is a really challenging situation for any business, which
Absolutely.
we are partly a business.
Yeah.
But I would highly encourage us to look at shopping this before 2 years, maybe even next year. I mean, people wonder why we go after safer referendums and building referendums and all this other stuff. We want to support our people, but this is astronomically high, in my opinion, so.
Will do.
Any other questions?
No, it's just really frustrating to see, because I think Angie just said something, that the fact that even under the family, she still had $3,000 a person, plus it was $6,000 max, so that's $16,000 of out-of-pocket expenses for insurance. That is, if we look in our insurance industry and the profits that the insurance industry are making, I mean, it's a really sad thing in the United States to be the most educated, the most well-funded, and still where your people are lacking health insurance. I mean, we're a district that has, what, are 67% people that need, and these are employees that are still, and that's still a burden on our employees in general. I'm not saying that that's not something we can't do, but that's a huge expense. If people would really look at that expense, look how much, $61 million that we could do better. If, I mean, that's nothing we can do. It's just, it's a depressing number.
You're exactly right, and that's a really good point. And there's a couple of things. One advantage that we have is our arrangement with Parkview and the 2 clinics that we have. Employees are able to go and get prescription, lab work, other medical treatment that's free to the employee. Of course, we pay for it out of the plan. The Blue Book Healthcare, what that's going to help us do is provide incentives for employees where there's a broad range in cost in the Fort Wayne market for the same service. And so this tool will allow employees to be more consumer driven, and so they can do a search and identify high quality, low cost providers for various things. We've also looked at individual contracts with people, with providers outside of the Anthem contract at discounted rates. So you're absolutely right. This is an expense that it's crazy. But I feel like we are working to get some discounts in place for employees.
That handbook sounds wonderful, because for 20-some years, I was self-insured as a small business owner. So I had to do that, doing that manually, just calling people randomly. I mean, three different hospitals, being a pregnant mother, and having to shop out where you're going to have your child is hard to do on your own. So I hope that handbook helps people, and they really take a look at that to help them. So
yeah, we're happy with that.
Any other questions for us? No, you're fine. Okay, thanks, Rose.
Thank you.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that brings us to Board member comments? Steve, you have any comments this evening?
I was a good boy at Thanksgiving and did not overeat. That's my report this evening.
I could make a comment, but I'm sure that Noah's going to make it, so I will defer my
You're right.
Snyder High School alumni. I'm very, very proud to be an alumni of a wonderful athletic program that was started way back when, that Coach Tippmann has carried on, and was super excited for our Snyder Panthers this past weekend. I'll let Noah fill in the rest. I just want to, as we give thanks for everybody, I think this is that time of the year that I just want to thank all of our employees for hanging in there. We're almost that end of that year. This is that time that I think that everybody needs to know how important you are to all of us, and I'm very thankful.
I have no comments this evening.
Well, I wasn't here at the last board meeting where we recognized people who helped get our referendum passed. So I just wanted to take the time to say thank you so much to our community for voting for safer schools, and to everyone who had a hand in really connecting with the community and different businesses to make sure that we got it passed. So, and I am going to get out of the way for Noah.
Well, for the 25 people watching, you can get your drink ready. Snyder football won the state championship this past week very happily. I'm happy and proud to say I ran into Quentin Bowen, the coach at Northrop, and said I look forward to cheering him on in the state championship. I saw Principal Zach Harrell of Southside and said I'm happy to cheer him on in the state football championship, or basketball, or whatever it may be. And that's one of the things I'll talk about our role, as you learn. And I'm a fan of a guy named Scott Van Pelt, who's on ESPN, and his comment was everybody's from somewhere and they have passions or something about that. Raleigh Southside, Marie Elmhurst, which sadly is no longer there, and Northside, Dr. Daniel Northside, Jennifer Noah and Julie Southside, Steve Gary Lou Wallace, or something like that up there. But anyway,
Julie's Northrop.
Julie's a Snyder girl.
Snyder.
Oh,
She
is she?
graduated Snyder, yes.
Okay, sorry.
So all I have to say, very proud of our Panthers, acknowledging the fact that proudly approving chamber field renovations tonight. But I do look forward to the day, since 1965 when Snyder was built, no varsity sport team has had a home game. Not Rosie Shipman's daughter that participated in state championships at Snyder women's soccer in 2002, 2004, 2008, 2009. Now Snyder football is 3-time state champion and 8-time semi-state champion. And yet to this day, I, as a student almost 30 years ago, God forbid, and the kids of 2023 who are graduating will not have played a home game at their school. So that's something I hope this board and administration keeps in mind. Next year I have to decide whether I get to run again or not. We'll see what happens. But if I were to choose and to be blessed to be on this board again, this is something I will encourage us to consider strongly during my next.
Is that along with an auditorium at Memorial Park?
I'm open to discussion, Steve, but this is
Our
something
fine
that I
arts
think has been
middle school
built since
that has no
1971.
Auditorium.
They've been playing football all that time, and soccer, and band, and still don't have a stadium. So I want to congratulate Coach Tippmann and the staff and the team at Snyder. His son Jake, who was awarded the Phil and Eskew Mill Attitude Award, which is a great accomplishment. Jake's #1 in his class, along with being the son of Kurt. I also want to congratulate Martina, the wife, because I know sometimes they don't always get the accolades. Martina was in school with Jennifer, along with Kurt and myself, and someone who I know, and I know that she spends a lot of her time at home by herself now that the boys are all older, and Kurt's coaching and pushing these kids to get better. And so we're lucky to have Kurt and Martina support Snyder football and Fort Wayne Community Schools. So with that, I congratulate the Snyder football 2023 version state champions.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Noah. Dr. Daniel?
I don't think I should follow. So we do have a celebration tomorrow, 1:30 at Snyder High School. So I think all of you were invited if you can attend. I think several cabinet members are also attending. So again, a wonderful thing. You know, we did have a team that went 12-0 and didn't make the playoffs, and I think we changed the IHSA in regards to that. So love to have seen that team, see what they would have done. That was, by the way, 1980s team. But I'll just say, you know, what happens in our co-curriculars are so important, because I can just tell you, when things go well in our co-curriculars, the entire student body is impacted. And we heard this earlier, the more we can have students involved, and it doesn't have to be sports. It can be what Steve said in the arts, it can be in clubs, it can be in anything of that nature. But again, programs, students are driven to programs where we have great coaches and great instructors and great band directors and great, just people just truly have a heart for kids. So love to see this, and it gives us great pleasure to recognize. So again, congratulations to Snyder High School and the Snyder Panthers. Well-deserved honor. And I also mentioned one other thing. In the very near future, our parents will be seeing lottery information coming forward. So I think Krista and her team are ready to, I believe December 4th is the day. We'll be submitting those. So it'll be prior to our next board meeting. But again, that will be happening. There will also be many opportunities for our parents to, especially our current eighth grade parents, to have presentations at each of our high schools in regards to what programs are going to be offered. And again, an FAQ will be out very shortly. We're working on that to finalize that. But again, those parents need to know what is happening in each of our high schools as we start to roll out Schools of Success. So just want to remind everyone of that opportunity for them to engage. And you could go to any building, but if you're interested in a particular building, now would be the time. So,
Great.
Thank you.
That December 4th, is that just for elementary and middle?
Actually, it's going to be for everyone, because we are extending the time of the lottery.
Oh.
So you can still have, even if you're an eighth grade parent and still trying to decide, that lottery will not be defined. That date will be extended, so you'll have more time to make a decision.
Okay, great. Thank you for that clarification. I don't have very many comments, but I also missed the last board meeting. So just wanted to thank the voters of Fort Wayne for voting yes for safer schools. And then I would also like to thank the students at Anthus who put my face, along with the other board members, on a sticker. I can truthfully say I've never been a sticker before, so this is quite fun. And I was very excited for the Snyder Panthers. And so since Elmhurst is no longer, I'm kind of excited to put this Snyder Panther on my water bottle to help celebrate the, is it 5A?
5A, yeah.
5A Snyder State Championship football team. There we go.
Thanks, Maria.
Yeah, no problem.
Three
No-
times.
Well, no, you were like at 5. But in total, we're probably pushing 10 times that Snyder has been acknowledged. In terms of saying thank you, as some of you may have seen this video on Facebook, the SRO at Memorial Park, Officer Blocker, so she got a promotion, so she is now Sergeant Blocker. But she's such a pillar in that building that when I found out that she was leaving, it kind of broke my heart, and it was nice to see that the Memorial Park students were taken to her promotion downtown, and they also did a parade through the building where Officer, now Sergeant Blocker, was in tears, as were several of the staff members and the students. So, yeah, it was really great. Looking forward to seeing who our new SRO will be. They have very big shoes to fill. So thank you to our community, which includes a lot of people. So, and that is all for my board member comments. Is there a motion to adjourn?
We adjourn.
Thanks, Noah. Thanks, Steve. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you very much.